Hey Rayleigh, and anybody else watching, and welcome back to another message from your Father. Today, Revelation 12 and 13. If you remember yesterday, we looked at some of the last of the trumpets. We looked at the angel and the scroll, the two witnesses, and then that seventh trumpet specifically. Today, we're going to be just looking at the woman and the dragon, and then the beast out of the sea, and the beast out of the earth. And then we'll talk very briefly, again, about the tribulation. Again, just in these two short chapters, 12 and 13. So, Revelation chapter 12. A great and wondrous sign appeared in heaven. A woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and a crown of 12 stars on her head. She was pregnant and cried out in pain as she was about to give birth. Then another sign appeared in heaven, an enormous red dragon, with 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns on his heads. His tail swept a third of the stars out of the sky and flung them to the earth. The dragon stood in front of the woman who was about to give birth, so that he might devour her child the moment it was born. She gave birth to a son, a male child, who will rule all nations with an iron scepter, and her child was snatched up to God and to his throne. The woman fled into the desert to a place prepared for her by God, where she might be taken care of for 1,260 days. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought back. But he was not strong enough, and they lost their place in heaven. The great dragon was hurled down, that ancient serpent called the devil, or Satan, who leads the whole world astray. He was hurled to the earth, and his angels with him. Then I heard a loud voice in heaven say, now have come the salvation and the power and the kingdom of our God and the authority of his Christ. For the accuser of our brothers, who accuses them before our God day and night, has been hurled down. They overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. They did not love their lives so much as to shrink from death. Therefore, rejoice, you heavens, and you who dwell in them. But woe to the earth and the sea, because the devil has gone down to you. He is filled with fury, because he knows that his time is short. When the dragon saw that he had been hurled to earth, he pursued the woman who had given birth to the male child. The woman was given the 2 wings of a great eagle, so that she might fly to the place prepared for her in the desert, where she would be taken care of for a time, times, and half a time out of the serpent's reach. Then from his mouth the serpent spewed water like a river to overtake the woman and sweep her away with the torrent. But the earth helped the woman by opening its mouth and swallowing the river that the dragon had spewed out of his mouth. When the dragon was enraged at the woman and went off to make war against the rest of her offspring, those who obey God's commandments and hold to the testimony of Jesus. Chapter 13. And the dragon stood on the shore of the sea, and I saw a beast coming out of the sea. He had 10 horns and 7 heads, with 10 crowns on his horns, and I saw on each head a blasphemous name. The beast I saw resembled a leopard, but had feet like those of a bear, and the mouth like that of a lion. The dragon gave the beast his power, and his throne in great authority. One of the heads of the beast seemed to have a fatal wound, but the fatal wound had been healed. The whole world was astonished and followed the beast. Men worshipped the dragon because he had given authority to the beast, and they also worshipped the beast and asked, who is like the beast? Who can make war against him? The beast was given a mouth to utter proud words and blasphemies, and to exercise his authority for 42 months. He opened his mouth to blaspheme God and to slander his name and his dwelling place and those who live in heaven. He was given power to make war against the saints and to conquer them. And he was given authority over every tribe, people, language, and nation. All the inhabitants of the earth will worship the beast, all those whose names have not been written in the book of life, belonging to the Lamb that was slain from the creation of the world. He who has an ear, let him hear. If anyone is to go into captivity he will go. If anyone is to be killed with the sword he will be killed. This calls for patient endurance and faithfulness on part of the saints. Then I saw another beast coming out of the earth. He had 2 horns like a lamb, but he spoke like a dragon. He exercised all the authority of the first beast on his behalf and made the earth and its inhabitants worship the first beast, whose fatal wound had been healed, and he performed great and miraculous signs, even causing fire to come down from heaven to earth in full view of men. Because of the signs that he was given power to do on behalf of the first beast, he deceived the inhabitants of the earth. He ordered them to set up an image in honor of the beast, who was wounded by the sword and yet lived. He was given power to give breath to the image of the first beast, so that it could speak and cause all who refused to worship the image to be killed. He also forced everyone, small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on his right hand or on his forehead, so that no one could buy or sell unless he had the mark, which is the name of the beast, or the number of his name. This calls for wisdom. If anyone has insight, let him calculate the number of the beast, for it is man's number. His number is 666. All right, so there's some really interesting stuff there, really. We have a lot of imagery and a lot of spiritual beings going on there, and that's a lot of what you see in Revelation. And then we see also this talk of the tribulation for this time's time and half a time. And what does that mean? Well, we see here in chapter 13, verse 5, it says, "The beast was given a mouth to utter proud words and blasphemies, and to exercise his authority for 42 months. So this note says, the mysterious number has prompted much speculation. Literally, it means time, times, and half a time. That's 12, verse 14. That is 1 year plus 2 years plus half a year, or 3.5 years. It occurs in several places in Revelation. Could it simply be half the perfect number 7, thus representing the age of the new covenant, the time between the first and second coming of Christ? Or does it refer to literal months, a brief but intense 3.5-year period of great persecution against the church? If so, did these 42 months already take place during the Roman persecution of Christians, or are they still in the future? For those who believe the 42 months are in the future, frequently speak of the period as the Great Tribulation, and call the beast the Antichrist, a name used elsewhere in the Bible. Several schools of thought have developed around the tribulation. Pre-tribulationists believe that Jesus will come to remove the church from earth just before the Great Tribulation. Post-tribulationists believe that the church will go through a time of trials before Jesus returns. Mid-tribulationists believe that the church will be taken away during the tribulation. So what do we do with that? Well, that is my prayer for you today, to figure that out for me, because that is a tough one. No, my prayer for you really is, regardless of what you believe, again, I think there are schools of thought that you can get verses and understanding to back the pre-tribulation, the mid-tribulation, the post-tribulation. My prayer for you is that regardless of all of that, that you would make yourself ready, that you would do the will of God, that you would be obedient, that you would be exercising the authority that he's given you here on earth and loving others and, doing your utmost for his kingdom. That is my prayer for you. I know there's so much in Revelation that can just get confusing and we can get overwhelmed by it, but it is so important, regardless, that we continue to be in the Word and continue to obey and continue to love. Anyway, that is my prayer for you. Know that I am praying it for you and I love you so much. And for anyone else watching, know that, as always, I appreciate you and I will plan on seeing you tomorrow. Have a good one.